Welcome. This is David Boles' Human Meme. Today's topic, the Burning Patriot. Colin Kaepernick is an American football player who has refused to stand for the national anthem before the start of the season's professional football games. Colin is protesting how minorities are treated in the United States of America. Colin's team jersey is now the #1 seller in the National Football League shop, and people are buying his jersey so they may burn him in effigy. It's an odd protest against another protest. Colin doesn't stand, and in response, he gets burned. Luckily, the NFL is taking the right stand and the right side, and saying that it is Colin's right to do as he wishes before the games. Dissent is an important part of freedom in the United States, and to expect everyone to act and behave the same way is foolish. Colin, the Burning Man, has been joined now by other professional football players in his protest, as they quietly sit or kneel or raise an arm during the mandatory hand-on-heart recitation and singing along of an American anthem that has, in many ways, become hollow and empty in retreat. There was a time in America when Colin's protest would have been universally admired and vetted as valuable. Instead, today, we have too many brittle babies who take any sort of stand up to stand out of line as a personal offense they cannot support or abide. It's just curiously odd how sensitive we've become as a country, when our main human export is bombs and war and killing. And if someone dares to stand up against the jingoistic majority, then they are labeled, no branded, no burned, as a traitor, and as un-American, and as unworthy of living citizenship. Yes, this is scary stuff, because when scared people become even more scared, they tend to pick up a gun, or a knife, or a noose, or some lighter fluid, so they may hang a football jersey from a tree and set it on fire so they can unload to upload their violent act of freedom to YouTube as an "I'll show you" video to the real heroes among us who take the heat for their beliefs, and not the shrill, silly outrage of orange babies who feel affronted. In America, if you want to be patriotic, you must sing the national anthem. You must say the Pledge of Allegiance. You must wear an American flag lapel pin, and you unironically must vow America first every chance you get. I argue none of that is American. It's all just bundled fear and flatulence pretending to be patriotism. You can be a patriot and disagree with the majority. In fact, it is required of the majority to hear out the minority voice and help bring them into the mainstream of human belonging. That is democracy. That is leadership. That is American humanism. Today we've lost that mandate, as any tiny voice of right is outshouted by the bullies haranguing us from the right. It is sad that America First now means cutting student loans and eliminating welfare and taking away food that belongs to infants while making medical decisions for women and the unborn. We recently celebrated, is that the right word? We recently observed the 15th anniversary of 9/11 in New York City, and I fear the argument needs to be made now that now is the time to accept our losses and our history and move on with the rest of our lives. What is the point of replaying the 9/11 attacks again and again and again on television in real time as if they were happening all over again in real time? Do we really need to see senseless murder every single year for the past 15 years on the anniversary of 9/11 to get the message that we as a country were asleep when we were warned of an imminent attack on us, and that President George W. Bush and Condoleezza Rice and Dick Cheney all failed together to protect us from terrorism? The 9/11 dead are venerated every single year on live television as if they were veterans of war. But they are not. There was no war, not yet. The war was yet to come and to be declared. The 9/11 dead were just unlucky. And yet the families were compensated between $250,000 and $7.1 million for their human losses. Now, that's a lot of money to help you deal with your grief. The 9/11 dead get venerated every year because we want to think we went to war over them. But we did not. We did not go to war to avenge them. We went to war to give the military-industrial complex a valve to expend and exploit and delete. And if 9/11 were an act of war, well, we didn't go to war with the right country. Here's the breakdown of who hit us on 9/11. Of the 19 airplane hijackers, 15 were from Saudi Arabia. 2 were from the United Arab Emirates, and 1 apiece were from Egypt and Lebanon. Not one of the 9/11 hijackers was from Afghanistan. If the events of 9/11 had hit Sacramento or Chicago or Memphis, would we have the same burning effect 15 years later? No. New York City is the epicenter for broadcast television, and there were never a more offended people than the celebrity hosts of television morning shows, who were all surprised to see the World Trade Center towers falling, burning right in their own backyard while they were live on air. Those network television news celebrities cannot resist not being offended, and they cannot resist the capacity they have to replay their dismay each year on the anniversary with rebroadcasts of that horrible, fatal day where the dead keep on dying and the towers keep on falling. Why must we be forced to rewatch the murder of almost 3,000 people over and over and over again each year without any sense of relief. To never forget? To scare a whole new generation of children who were unborn when the planes first hit? Do we have similar needs and wants as a nation to replay the Sandy Hook massacre of 20 children? Sure, there was no live broadcast, it wasn't in New York, but maybe we could hire a theater group to reenact the shootings, so we'll never forget. We should then do the same reenactments for the San Bernardino killings, too. Light 'em up and shoot 'em down. And before you start to call me tasteless or unpatriotic for suggesting we reenact the Sandy Hook and San Bernardino massacres, please explain and then defend the Civil War reenactors for me first. The Civil War reenactors want to remember and never forget? Well, so too do the Sandy Hook and San Bernardino survivors. The Civil War reenactors want to preserve history so we'll never forget? Same with the San Bernardino and Sandy Hook people. Celebrate one killing, celebrate them all, no matter which side your sword falls. And there the Burning Patriot stands, in ashes, up from the grave, unable to salute or sing as a ghost of patriotism past. And the shadow the fallen ghost casts becomes a political movement with no meaning. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.